The city through property tax, sales tax, potentially revenue from water and sewer, and to a limited degree use hotel motel tax to operate the facility, as well as any revenue that generates. The 4A board as a whole isn't really involved in that. Now, as Bill Gleason and I were talking, we're not promoters. We are not event facility managers. We hire a city manager to manage our city, not promote events. Okay? So, we need to get out of that business, per se. The vision that I have, and that we shared with the council, was a little bit different diagram. Starting with the 4A board. Through a third-party contractor to operate our event center. Now, as some of you know, we attempted to contract out concessions, and it wasn't a very, I don't think any bidders came about. Okay. So, the proposal that I have, put the city over here. And currently, the money that we're spending on the operations of that facility, whatever that dollar amount is, we'll just arguably say it's $500,000. Okay, that's currently budgeted for the operation of the event center. Let's use that money to go out and find a contractor and say, okay, we'll pay you $500,000 to operate this facility. You cut the grass, you pay the electric bill, you make sure the bathrooms are clean, you schedule the events, you rent the rooms. But we have to give them a way of making it advantageous to them. So when an event is profitable, we share the profits with that contractor. Be it a 60-40, 50-50, whatever deal that needs to be. We offset, from a city's perspective, the expense of operating that facility, but we give motivation to a third-party contractor to ensure that events are profitable. And now we get out of the business of promoting events. And we let the 4A board serve as the administrator to that contract. Now, I realize that there are a lot of things that have to happen before this could actually take place. We can't just flick a switch and say, here, 4A board, you've got the event center. Go contract it. That's not going to work, not after the number of years that the city has been involved in the operation and maintenance of the event center, as well as the finances of it. I believe that it needs to be a phased-in process. One of the things that I have asked the city manager to do is look at that, to say, how do we phase this board into the operation and maintenance of that facility? We will be scheduling on Thursday a workshop to address just that issue. And hopefully we will get that workshop put together early in January. So in the January City Council meetings, we can start some of those directives. I believe the first piece needs to be the financial management of that facility. If the city has X number of dollars budgeted for the operation and maintenance of that facility, let's let this board manage it. You would have to work closely with the city staff who is currently doing this, but this gives you 100% visibility on the finances of that facility. Then as a phase 2, begin to bring you into the operations of that facility so that you get the overview of that. Then collectively, this board can say, okay, we've got this much money budgeted. These are the things that we need to be doing, and physically go out and search for a contract. Now, do I expect this to happen overnight? Absolutely not. This could be a 3, 4, 5, 6 month process. Because let's throw in some curveballs to this. Currently, we have the Boys and Girls Club out there who are operating and doing their thing out there for a nominal fee. We have the Girl Scouts who rent offices out there. I think we have some commercial entities renting offices out there. We have a city council and a community that believes that we should be utilizing it to some degree, this facility, as a community center. And how do we determine, okay, do we do this as a community center or do we do this profitable event? And this is where this board is going to come up with policies and procedures to work with the contractor so that that happens. So that an all-volunteer board isn't out there cleaning the toilets and making sure the doors get locked at night, but rather functioning on the management of this facility and the management of the contract, and simply reporting back to the city. As it should be. The 4A should be an independent body. Now, through the past several years, that's kind of morphed so that the board was there and they were responsible for the debt service, and the operation and maintenance and the financial piece kind of got pushed over to the city, and it was sold a different way and everybody expected it to be different. Today it's not that. Today it's you got the debt, city's got everything else. We need to move that direction to give the board the authority and the responsibility for the management of the facility. That's what the citizens approved in the tax and what they believed it to be. Is this possible? I don't know the answers. Okay? But let's start to work together to find the answers so that we can get a good plan put together for the 4A. You know, all of this would have to be approved by City Council. I'm not saying that the City Council has approved it. But this was the presentation that was made during one of the workshops, and the Council agrees. This is the direction that we need to be taking the 4A. Questions of me?
It's going to take a lot of planning by this group. It's going to take a lot of work by this group. And we're going to have to know exactly what the budget we're going to have, and we need to follow that budget. The city took over the management because we didn't have the money to pay an accountant on staff. We didn't have the money to fund. At that time, we weren't getting those city dollars. And so we had no place to go except back to the city with that plan. And I'm quite impressed with that idea, but we're going to have to see what will actually make it work. And I think that's something the board has not had since for at least a year, and that is a direction to travel. And Andy has worked really well and tried to help us really well with this, but we did not have the resources. And because you don't have a direction, then that's one reason the board didn't meet, is because there was nothing for the board to do. The taxes were being paid. We did check on that. I mean, the debt service was being paid. We did check on that. But there was nothing after that for the board to be involved in, other than just checking the building periodically. I think a plan such as this will get the board moving and the board meeting because it will have something to do. No one likes to serve on a board that has nothing to do. So, that's my comment.
Well, and Andy will serve as the day-to-day liaison to the council and the 4A. That is in his job description to do that, and he will work with you to get there. And I have no doubt that Andy sees this plan as good for him and for the city staff. How we get there, I don't know all of the answers. I don't even know if the road will get there. But that's the direction we need to be heading as a group. And it may not be the way we've always done business, and it may not be the way we end up doing business, but let's start down that path. And we can do that collectively. And I think you'll have all the support from the city council and from the city staff to accomplish that.
Jim, of course, I don't think big, I think stable. But when you say like $500,000 for this third party situation,
Okay?
people to take over, and they're paying electric bills and all that sort of things. Is that grandiose?
No, absolutely not. Because let's just take this $500,000, and I haven't looked at the detail, but
Citizen comment,
okay, that's a little more than just citizens' comment, but
But I can't, in citizens comment, we can't have that discussion, is what I'm saying.
Staff
Staff
wise.
can't.
We'll
Okay.
continue doing that, and then once we get to our deal.
Are we too far off our agenda? Are we still within?
no, I think I'm
limits of our
within
agenda?
Andy's piece there that's talking about potential future activities
Okay. All right.
of this.
Yeah, this is.
Okay, all right. I
This
just
is-
didn't want to get off on something.
Here's the deal, the city is spending money today. What that exact figure is, I'm not read up on enough to know. But we're paying the electric bill, we're paying the water bill, we're paying the sewer bill out there, we're paying for trash collection. We're paying for city employees to go out there and cut the grass. We're paying for city employees to go out and do maintenance in the facility. We're paying the city manager to do things, oversight for that facility. We're paying employees out there. We're buying the concessions out there, okay? And we're paying for various things that go on at the event center. Today, that figure is very close to $500,000. Okay, so take that number and say, okay, the city's not going to do any of that anymore, and use that same amount of money, or a reasonable, reasonably close to that number, and pay somebody. Are we saving any money? No, but we're spending the money anyway. Okay, so let's spend the money more effectively, and let's spend it in a way where we can potentially reduce our costs. Whereas if we're getting somebody to be profitable, we're able to offset our costs. You know, will it ever be a black line item for the city? No. I don't foresee that ever being a facility that costs no money to operate, that it pays for itself, given the debt and given our community size. It will never be. Look at very, very large cities with these sorts of facilities. They're not profit makers. Okay, what we want to do is reduce that expense to the best way that we can. And, you know, it comes back to some of the commercials, you know, if you have a bad tooth, you don't go to the second best dentist. You go to the best dentist to get it fixed. If you need brain surgery, you don't go to an OBGYN, you go to a brain surgeon. So let's get somebody who knows how to run an event center and market an event center for us, and run an event center for us. That's the appropriate use of assets, I believe. Just my thoughts.
Thank you, sir, very much. We appreciate that.